Hello everyone and welcome to a guide of how to start your VATSIM journey and making your first successful flight on the VATSIM network. Of course, I'm going to be using Microsoft Flight Simulator during this small little series because that is one of the newest simulators and personally one of the best. So what we're going to do here is start off by going to a website called SimBrief. This is a completely free website. You don't have to pay anything to use it, but basically this is what you use to create your flight plans, which is what we're going to be going over in this video. So as soon as you go on to SimBrief, you're going to see something like this. You might see a login screen. If that happens, just create an account and then go from there, and you should end up on this page. Then what you want to do is come up here to dispatch, click on that. Then you're going to see this flight plan page and you want to press create new flight. Once you click this, you get all these different options and boxes to fill in. So what we want to do at the start is put in our flight information. So this is going to be the airline we're flying for, so that is the 3-digit code at the start. So for instance, if we're flying with TUI, that will be Tom for Tomjet. If we're flying with Delta, that will be DAL for Delta, and so on. British Airways, for example, is BAW. So for this video, I'll be doing British Airways just because that's there. And we want to put in our flight number. So this can be any number, basically. Has to be at least 3 digits and can go up to 4 digits of numbers. And then, yeah, that's it. So I can do 5586. So then we're going to be British Airways 5586. That's going to be our flight. Then we want to choose our departure airport. So for this, I want to do Stansted, so Echo Golf Sierra Sierra. Then we want to choose our arrival airport. So for this, we could do something like Charles de Gaulle, which is Lima Foxtrot Papa Golf. And then you can see that gets a little loading thing there. And then we also choose our alternate airport. Most of the time, I just set this to none, and then we can change that in the flight if we need to. If we need to divert, we can choose any airport instead of just the one that we choose to put in. Next thing we want to do is choose our aircraft type. So, come in here, you'll find every aircraft possible that you ever want to use. So, for this, we're going to be using the A320neo. Oh, I know that's not actually a British Airways plane, but just as an example, we'll use the A320neo. So then we want to come down to here, advanced aircraft options. You can leave all of this as it is. Normally I like to change the FIN number to our flight number, so that's going to be 5586. And then you always have to change your call sign. It does come up there. I always recommend putting it in manually. So our call sign is going to be British Airways 5586. As an example, I am aware that it wouldn't actually be said British Airways, but just for the demonstration of this, I will be calling it British Airways 5586. Then we come down here, we can get optional entries, but to be honest, you want to leave all of this exactly as it is, except for passengers. So passengers, I'm just going to put that to full. I always put that to full just to get the most realistic experience. Scheduled flight time, do not change it. Departure runway, also do not change it. Arrival runway, taxi out, taxi in, all of that, just leave exactly as it is. Like ZFW means zero fuel weight, so you want to put that to auto because that's going to manually or automatically determine what your zero fuel weight is by the amount of passengers you have on board. The only thing you might want to change on this is if you're doing a flight where there could be a lot of traffic on VATSIM at the current time you're doing it, you might want to put in some extra fuel, but for the purpose of this, I'm not going to. Altitude, you want to put that to auto unless you want a specific altitude. If you do want a specific altitude, you want to put FL for flight level, and then your altitude. So we could put 360, so that will be 36,000 feet. And the reason we put flight level is because that will be in the standard barometric pressure instead of whatever is at an airport. But for now, we can leave that at auto. Leave all of this as it is for the rest of that, and then we come down here to our routing. So here we have the suggested route for our flight. So first thing you want to do is click Analyze Route, just to make sure this route is up to date and still available. Then if you want to change the route to something different, which we can have a look at in a minute, you have some other suggested routes here. So all of this we want to leave as it is. And if we come down here, we can see the map. So this is going to be showing us our route. So you can see here, if we zoom out a little bit, here we have the UK. We're going to be departing from Stansted, which is there. And we're going to be going down to Charles de Gaulle in France. So if we zoom in a little bit, we can see our flight plan. So we can come into Stansted. We can see we're going to be departing. I believe that is runway 4. And we're taking a right turn, heading down south. And then basically just straight flight until just on the edge of the UK. We're going to take a right turn, then a left turn, and then we're going to keep coming around here to Charles de Gaulle. And what you might realise here is it's just going to cut straight through, which we can sort out in the sim in the next video when we'll be showing you how to program the FMS in the A320neo. And for that I will be using the fly-by-wire A320, and I would definitely recommend getting that. That is the best A320 you could possibly get, and is the best for VATSIM, because it has the most functionality out of all the planes. So here we can see our route, but let's say we wanted to change this route a little bit. Maybe we don't like going over there, or wherever it's going to change. We can click one of these. So if we click number 3, we'd also see the route here. Click Analyze to make sure it is still available, and then we can see the new route. So instead we're going to come down here for a bit longer. And then if you want to go back to the first one, click number 1. And that will bring us back to the first one. Just say we're happy with this one, we want to go for that route. Then we want to come up to the top and we want to click Generate Flight. This is basically going to make sure that a flight plan is all correct and that can be used. So as soon as that's done, it's going to take us to a new page where we can see our flight briefing, basically. So we're going to see our airline, which is British Airways, flight number 5586, aircraft A320neo. If you're in the fly-by-wire A32NX, that will also just be A320neo. We can see our departure airport here, which is Stansted, and our destination airport, which is Charles de Gaulle. If you're wondering what these 4 letters are here, I'll explain it quickly. Basically, that is what's called an ICAO code. So if you want to know it, you can go up to a separate tab, look up any airports. Let's say I want to look up Stansted, and then put in ICAO code. Search that up, and it will come up with Echo Golf Sierra Sierra. You don't want to use the 3-letter one. That is something different for another purpose, which I'm not going to in this video. You want to use the 4-letter one. That's how you find out the ICAO, or the ICAO, as some people call it. Anyway, here we can see our alternate airport. We have not set as none currently, but we can change that in flight with ATC if we need to. Our cruising altitude, we can also see here, is going to be flight level 240, which is 24,000 feet. You can see our date of departure is the 7th of March 2022. That will automatically be set to the day you create this flight plan. If you want to use the flight plan again, it will also come up with a small little box, and it will say, what do you want to change to current times? And you just click yes, it will change all of this to the current time. We can see our departure time that is estimated for us as 9:10 as our departure time. We'll see we'll be in the air for around 46 minutes if that is smooth traffic and no holds. Our block fuel, this is how much fuel is going to be on board, is 3,500 kilograms. We're going to have no extra fuel on board on our flight plan, even though we could request some extra fuel. Our 0 fuel weight is going to be there, which we will have to put in the FMC, the flight management computer. And that is about it for there, other than the routing. So the routing is going to show us where we're going. So it's actually quite simple to read once you understand it. So this first bit here is going to, sorry, not that bit, all of that. That is going to be our departure. So we're going to be using, that will be said as Lloyd 5 Sierra. We'd also see here, the last one is also going to be our arrival, which is the Bipper 8 Papa arrival. So let's go from left to right. So we've got the Lloyd 5S departure, or Lloyd 5 Sierra departure. And then we're going to be going to Lloyd. That's going to be the end waypoint of that departure. Then we're going to be using, when it says one letter and then some numbers, that's what's called an airway. So we're going to put that in separately on the FMC, which I'll explain in the next video. And then we're going to be using the mic 189 airway to go to WAFU. And then we're going to be using the UM605 airway to go to Bibax, and then from Bibax we're going to be using the Bibba 8 Papa arrival to Charles de Gaulle. So that is all quite simple there. Here we have the operational flight plan. So this is basically what you would get if you was a real airline pilot. You would get this printed off for you so you can read it before your actual flight. So this is a bit confusing and daunting at first, but if you don't understand how to read it and what you're going to need and not, I'll go over it quickly, but if you want to know it fully, you can just click this how do I read this flight plan. If you click on that, it'll open up a new tab for you, and then it'll bring up an example flight plan. So here we can see if we hover over it, it tells us what it is. This is the flight number, the flight date, the departure airport, the arrival airport, aircraft, and etc. But basically, all you're really going to need is this, which is your call sign, which you're going to know anyway, really. Your cost index, which is here, CI. This number will change all the time, so that could be anything. Fuel, basically, so all of this bit. And the routing. That is basically all you're going to need for actually doing like the necessary operating flight on VATSIM. So the next thing you want to do is come down here right to the bottom, and you want to press pre-file on a network. Then you want to click whatever you're using. Obviously we're going to be using VATSIM, so you want to come up here and click pre-file. Then when we come down here, we can see all of our flight details that has come in from SimBrief. So we can see our call sign, flight rules. For any airliner flight, you're going to want to be flying IFR, that is instrument flying, and VFR is visual flying. So VFR will be used for things like small private propeller planes like a Cessna, just for short little flights. But IFR will always be used for commercial flying. And we can see our aircraft type and all of that, departure airport, and so on. Then you can see our route as well. Like sometimes one of these at the end, actually I think in both of these in this case, haven't actually showed up our departure and arrival, which is here, the Lloyd 5 Sierra and the Bibba 8 Papa. So we are going to have to put that in. So we're going to have to put Lloyd 8 Sierra space, and then at the end we'll put a space. It's the Bibba, I believe, is it Bibba? Yeah, Bibba 8 Papa. Okay, then that's all we're going to need. Voice rules. This is quite important for your VATSIM flights. So this is going to be determining whether you can speak to air traffic control, only receive what they say to you, or only use text. So basically in vPilot, which is what we're going to be using to connect to VATSIM, we're going to want to be using voice, but you can use text if you are a bit nervous and you have push-to-talk fear. I did my first time, but once you get used to it, it's perfectly fine, and you get a lot more comfortable the more you fly. So I would recommend using voice. You'll get the best experience that way. It might be a bit daunting at first, but trust me, it's all fine. Everyone on the VATSIM network is really polite and helpful to new pilots especially. So once you've got all of that done, you're going to come down here and click File Plan. That's, let's say, flight plan filed, enjoy your flight. And that is going to be how you file a flight plan on VATSIM. So then when you go into vPilot, all you have to do is connect. So I will show you that quickly now. We go into vPilot. vPilot. For this to load. All we have to do is press connect, and we can change our call sign. So we're going to put British Airways 5586, and our aircraft type, which is A320. And you're going to get some options come up here. Just click A320. And you want to click connect. Obviously, I'm not on the flight simulator at the moment. So once you've done that, that will be fine. You don't have to go into any of this flight plan here. You can leave that because you've already filed it over here. So that's going to be it for this video. Make sure that you like and subscribe for more. Soon after this, I'm going to be doing a video explaining how to program the flight management computer ready for your first flight on VATSIM. It's going to be a small little series here I'm going to be doing on getting started on VATSIM, because personally, if you're using the flight simulator, VATSIM is one of the best things you can do to get a more realistic experience, and it's really a lot more fun than using the integrated air traffic control for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Make sure that once you have filed your flight plan also in this, make sure you don't close this SimBrief, because you are going to be needing that when you program the FMC. So, yeah. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take care. Have a good day. And I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.